We can master our eczema. We can master our immune function. So this is Outsmart eczema, Outsmart your autoimmune disease. It all starts at the level of the cell. This is an animal cell. So this goes beyond any race, gender, everything. We all have these cells. This is why when people often say, everybody's so different, you can't treat everybody the same. And that honestly makes me a little bit upset, just because I know that we do not understand the way the cell works. We do express different diseases. We all express different diseases and different types of sensitivities. But when we actually look at the immune function, when we look at the body, we all operate in the same way. It's quite beautiful. And when we can understand this, it gives us a basis of a foundation from where to go from there. So if we're always saying, oh, everybody's different, we just don't know, we're living in this gray area where we literally don't know how to come back from a diseased state. So when we focus on this, we know everything. The most important part, when you're outsmarting your autoimmune or eczema, I just have 3 of my dear friends who are struggling with eczema. So this is why I'm making this video, because I love them and I love anybody who's trying to work on their health. The lipid membrane, fatty membrane, the biggest thing you want to do if you're trying to increase your immune function is absolutely take the seed oils out of your diet. The seed oils are polyunsaturated fats. These fats are not going to be a stable structure for the cell membrane. AKA, if you have a lot of unstable fats in your diet and you don't have a lot of stable fats in your diet, the cell will be in a stressed out place. This means that the cell is going to create an environment for inflammation. It's going to call in the immune system way too much. We want to put the cell at ease. We want to have a safe tent. I talk about a safe tent when you go camping. You don't want to go camping with a hole in your tent and there's going to be a rainstorm. You want to have a safe, solid tent when you're going to camp. This cell membrane is no different from that solid tent. So we have to get these healthy fats in our diet. Look up Dr. Mary Newport, her work on fats and neurodegenerative diseases, specifically Alzheimer's. She was a pediatric physician, and so we know that items like breast milk, right, dairy milk, they have these medium chain fats, coconut oil, avocado oil, they have these stable fats, and these stable fats highly contribute to our brain function, to the sheaths that are around every single neuron, the fatty sheaths. The body relies on fat. Our brains are 60 to 80% fat. I know we were told that fat is bad, but we must relearn when we're in the height of all this autoimmune issues, when we're in the height of all of the solar flares coming from the sun. We must learn, again, what fats are, how they relate to the function of the cell, how they relate to the function of the brain, and our immune function, okay? So the number one thing is to get the healthy fats in. This is why I prioritize animal-based proteins. When I'm eating my ground beef, y'all, I have a very simple diet right now. I'm eating a lot of eggs, pasture-raised eggs, and grass-fed ground beef. When I'm eating both the eggs and the beef, they both have protein, full amino acid protein. So this is including the B vitamins from the beef, higher like zinc, taurine, iron. But they also have the fatty profiles in it. So they have the perfect ratio of those fats. So when I'm eating those, and this is jumping over in comparison to, let's say, vegetables or even something like blueberries, right? I might be getting a decent amino acid profile when I'm eating vegetables or blueberries, right? But I am missing these key fats. And I want to, if I'm trying to be as efficient as possible with my diet, with the money that I'm spending on the food that is increasing in price at a rate that we're very all aware of, I want to go for the most nutrient-dense sources as possible. So I'm eating the beef, I'm getting plenty of fats in the diet. When I'm eating the eggs, I have yolks, the fat. We have fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K. So it is so important, again, get it all in one place. Whew, okay. So besides that, all of these little structures in here, this is an orchestra of events. And you're the CEO. You're the CEO. When you think about a CEO, what do you think of? You think of the person at the top of the company that is in charge of all the little structures. There's a managerial staff, right? You might have accountants, right? CPAs, and then people managerial, and then you have your workers down below. This is the same thing. You are the CEO of your body. You have this conglomerate, trillions of these little cells. These are your employees. So we must pay the employees properly in order for them to do their job. If you do have autoimmune issues, you have eczema flaring up, we know that the cells are working in overtime. What does this mean? We must stay hydrated. This is not just water. This is our mineral balance. So check out the video I made yesterday. The cell on the inside holds a charge, and we have a charge on the outside. In order to hold this balance, we must make sure that our mitochondria are bumping and rolling. One of the best things is sunlight, but the amino acids are so important. We have to be able to get enough amino acids to build proteins, right? We build our proteins in this little space right here, the endoplasmic reticulum. We have 2 of them, rough and smooth. We must get enough of these amino acids, and we're just not. Most of the time, these chronic diseases, these autoimmune issues are a result of us not having enough vitamins and minerals in our diet. So how do we get more of these? Prioritize your breakfast. We don't care about when breakfast is. Breakfast is breaking of the fast. So you could eat at 5 p.m. You just want to make sure that you are eating something nutrient dense. So you put the body at rest. So plenty of hydration, plenty of amino acids, fatty acids, plenty of rest, getting in the circadian rhythm, allowing your body, go sit in the sun. This is one of the best ways to structure the water to hydrate the cell, to put the body back at ease. If you are very sensitive to the sunlight, let's say that you actually have flare-ups of autoimmune issues with the sun, you want to make sure that you're eating these amino acids to allow the body to be at rest. You're going out at earlier times in the day when the UV is lower. You can check the weather app on your phone. If you go and you open the little weather app and you scroll down, you'll see a UV index, and that will tell you how strong the UV is at that particular time. If you're very sensitive, you want to be getting out in the morning when the UV is lower, and in the afternoon when it is again lower, until you're able to build up tolerance to it. It's just like exercise. You don't go into the gym the first day and lift your 300 pounds. You know, I've never lifted that. It's not my goal. But you work your way up. You work your way up. So that's how it works within the cell too. But you want to be getting enough of the basic profile of amino and fatty acids. That's the number one thing. If you are battling an autoimmune issue, make sure that you are paying your employees. This is your employee. You're paying your employee plenty. Pay it more. Pay it generously. That's what you want to think of your body. If you can do that, and you can do that over a course of even like 2 or 3 days, you want to be aware of the environment. So in those 2 or 3 days, want to look at what is depleting the body at an accelerated rate. Do you have a person in your life who is causing you a lot of stress? They're putting you in a depleted state. They're causing your mind to ruminate. You're just thinking about how you don't like being around that person. Maybe take some time for yourself. Do you have a lot of processed sugar in your diet? Processed sugar is going to deplete and dehydrate our bodies at an accelerated rate. So taking the processed sugar out, even if it's 2 or 3 days, even if it's just 1 day, even if only, the processed sugar is so addictive, and I'm right there with you. Our bacteria, our gut bacteria, when we have those unhealthy populations of gut bacteria, they're constantly wanting us to indulge in those processed sugars because they need to stay alive. They need to eat in order to stay alive. So this is why fasting, and the knowledge that if you decide to do a fast, you're actually going to allow these bacteria to die off and allow the healthier populations to regrow. You just have to know this, because our bodies will trick us. Those gut bacteria will trick us into the same cycles. It's dopamine hits. So when we're eating this processed sugar, it's dopamine hits. So where can I have positive dopamine hits? And just last to mention, the other really depleting factor is going to be alcohol. We already know that. Even such thing as caffeine too, but if you have a good source of coffee, no mold coffee, organic, that is just one of my favorite nutrients that I have in my diet. So I don't really consider it much of like a depletion rate, as long as you have the full amino acids elsewhere in your diet and you're staying satiated and hydrated. It's all about a balance. So becoming aware of where you're being depleted in the biggest areas. And this is also going to be lack of sleep. So you want to start shooting for, let's say you take those 3 days off of the processed sugars, the alcohols, and you're saying, I'm really going to feed my body densely, nutrient dense, for the next 3 days. You want to make sure that you're also try and get some resistance training in. You want to make sure that that window is efficient as possible. When I do my fasted state, I am trying to be as efficient as possible. I'm trying to get as deep into my fasted state as quick as possible. So this involves me getting into the sunlight. Why? Because the more I can stimulate my mitochondria, the faster I'm going to get into the fasted state. I'm drinking caffeine. Why? Because caffeine can stimulate autophagy. I am exercising. Why? Because exercise can stimulate autophagy. I don't ever just do a dry fast. I'm not just waiting for my body to take its place. I'm a fan of being the aid, engaging in my food diet, allowing my body to move more quickly into this fasted, into this cleaning state. So that would involve, again, me resting. If I'm going to be playing with the fasted game, if that's a depletion game, I gotta make sure that I'm playing the hydration game as well. So it's unideal to overtrain. When we overtrain, I'm pointing at my weights, when we overtrain, we're going to be more susceptible to respiratory illnesses. This goes into your immune function. Years ago, I was overtraining and I was constantly getting respiratory illnesses. So that was, one day I woke up and I was like, wait, oh, I just need to eat more amino acids in my diet and start cutting the sugars, cut down on what's going to deplete me and increase what is going to hydrate me and satiate me. Core 4 minerals, calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium. So I want to make sure that I'm eating the most nutrient dense foods, those animal-based proteins. And then if you are in a position where you just can't shake the cravings, you just cannot shake it, breakfast, whatever time of day that is, your first meal of the day, prioritize a nutrient dense, high protein, animal-based protein breakfast with some fats in there. A good breakfast, again, gonna be the ground beef and eggs. Maybe you have some organic avocados that have a lot of magnesium and those healthy fats. You just wanna prioritize that first meal. Feed your good gut bacteria first. Get in the sunlight. When you get in the sunlight, we're actually feeding our gut bacteria. Isn't that crazy that we don't actually have to eat to feed our mitochondria, right? I can exercise and I'm feeding my mitochondria. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So anyway, I hope this video is helpful for you. Always rooting for you. Like, share, and subscribe if you would like to do that. I do have my Venmo below. I love to read and research, and I appreciate any donation if you have the capacity to do so. So thank you so much, and as always, good luck.